Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Waterville City Council meeting to order for Monday, December the 11th, 2023. First order of business is a prayer, but before we begin that prayer, it's my pleasure to ask Councilwoman Barb Bruno. Please do lead us in the prayer.
My pleasure. Loving God, and you are good. We come together tonight for the City of Waterville. We pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
Amen. And all rise, I'd ask Councilmember Vice Mayor Rod Fry to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody sit up and everybody talk.
Thank you, Barb, and thank you, Rod. Next is roll call.
Mr. Borowski? Here. Mr. Rosick?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mayor Pedro?
Here.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here.
Mrs. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Fry?
Here.
All right, next on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes, our regular council meeting from Monday, November 27th, 2023. All had a chance to review those minutes and need a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved, Mary Duncan. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Barbara Bruno. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is citizens' comments. I do have one request, and it's from Colin Wendt. Colin, if you'd like to please come to the microphone, and we'll make this as easy as possible for you. But Colin is a student at Otsego Schools, and he's here for one of his assignments, so we'd just like to have you introduce yourself, your address. You'll be in the record. You will get credit for being here because Mom's here. But go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Colin Wendt. As you said, I go to Otsego. I'm just here for a government assignment, and I'm also a little curious on how this works. I've heard that some of them are boring, but I don't really find this stuff very boring, to be honest. My address is 8523 Glen Creek. I live in the development of Coventry Glen over there. And yeah, thank you for having me here.
Good. And what year are you, sir?
I'm a junior.
Junior. And what class are you getting this? This is for government?
Yes, for government.
Have you had other students that had to go to other public meetings?
Yeah, if you go to Grand Rapids, Weston, Washington Township, Haskins, that kind of stuff.
You decided to come to the cool one, right?
I live here.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Yep.
Council, any comments or questions?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ours aren't boring. Thank you. Anyone else? Alrighty. Next is, we're going to go in executive session. We have a consideration of matters per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G4, reviewing negotiations with public employees concerning compensation and other terms and conditions of their employment. In addition, we will also be discussing a real estate matter at our executive session. We'll be going in there shortly, and we shouldn't be too long. So I need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call?
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. We'll be back.
Getting my stuff.
I need a motion to come out of executive session, please.
So moved.
So moved, Todd Borowski, and seconded.
Second.
Seconded by John Rozick. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, we are back in session. Next is staff reports. I'll start with our administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a copy of my report if you have any questions. I don't really have anything to add. I would like to mention, I guess I do have something to add. I would like to mention that we did have a bid opening for Parker Square Phase 3, and the cost estimate was $650,000, and unfortunately, the lowest bid came in at $788,326. So that's over the engineer's estimate, so we have to rebid that, and we'll take a look at, what was in the bid, and maybe we break it up into alternates or something like that, and try to get the cost down on that. So that concludes my report. If council has any questions.
Council, questions?
I just wanted to bring this up too. I did not see Kenny tonight, and I was wondering regarding. I wanted to eventually make a motion to add the irrigation into the budget for Waterworks Park, and I wanted to ask Kenny tonight regarding what the cost of that was, just so we could have an idea of what that would be.
Yeah, Kenny wasn't feeling well this evening, so he's not going to be here. I believe it was 16,000 that he was looking at, but
Okay.
we're going to have to get it designed, because if we push water all the way to the back, you're probably going to need a booster pump or something like that.
Okay.
And,
But that's kind of a rough estimate.
right, I think it's going to be quite a bit more than that actually, but I think maybe Barb, you could address
Yeah.
that under your report if or now if you want, but.
Well, regarding that, so we talked about that at the last Parks and Recreation, and the committee felt like that was pretty exorbitant. And they weren't
For what
really
it
in
was.
favor of, putting that kind of expenditure in that park again, and so kind of rethinking that. So you'll wanna address that at the next Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Barb, was that a well, or was that city water for the, I assume it would be a well, right? They would
That they'd
dig
be
down to
dredging
grab
from?
the water?
No, it was city
No,
water.
city
It was
water.
City.
Yeah, yeah. We should have like an irrigation contractor look at it a little more closely, because, the line's probably gotta be upsized to get all the way
And-
to the back of the park, and,
$16,000 sounds relatively reasonable for it, considering a home installation is probably 4 to 5.
You can talk about it next Park and Rec.
Yeah, I suggest probably take it up. We did table it, because you weren't president the last one, so we felt like you probably should be present.
So why don't we then bring it back to,
We can bring it back.
to the Parks and Recreation, right? John, or council, any other questions for the administrator?
No.
Next, our law director.
Very briefly, Your Honor, just because the subject has come up, the case for the conditional use in front of Judge Navarre in Toledo is still pending. It's been decisional since July. The judge's civil bailiff indicated she has 25 cases they're working on, so they will get to it, whatever that means. But it's not dead, and property owners have expressed an interest. Obviously, the permit comes out not in the promoter's name, but in the owner's and the applicant's name, and they could go out and look for another promoter and do whatever with their permit if it is granted.
All right, anything else, Phil?
Nope.
All right, next, our question. Next, our finance director. Thank you.
But I would like to just take a second and wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Next, our treasurer
Norfolk City.
and our police chief.
Go for it.
I don't think so.
Evening, Mayor and Council. You all have a copy of my report. Short report tonight. We have the 3 new officers still in training, doing an excellent job. 2 of them were laterals and should be out on the road on their own within a couple of weeks. Christmas downtown Waterville went without incident. I think we had a good turnout. We had a couple officers working crosswalks, and I was downtown, and I think it was a good turnout. That's all I've got.
Questions for the chief?
I just had a couple quick questions, if I may. Chief, you had one incident involved assault on a peace officer. Was there any
Yeah,
injury or
one of
anything?
our officers got bit during an arrest.
Got bit by,
The person being arrested?
Yeah,
Okay.
wow,
so it's a felony.
Yep.
officers okay?
Yeah,
This was a DUI.
correct.
And then there was another incident with, involving the Ohio Casino Control Commission. I wonder how that involves Waterville.
The casino downtown has a parking garage. Their cameras picked up 2 people. I guess they jumped a person with a voucher. The 2 people that were the suspects in it were ID'd, and they live in Steedman, the apartments. So the casino commission came out with some plainclothes officers, and we made an arrest that day.
Good work.
Yeah. Anything else for the chief?
No.
All right, next, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to bring something up. You know, Christmas it's a time to celebrate, time for families, and we all see so many great things around Christmas. But I wanted to remind everyone it is also a time where there are a lot of people that are very depressed. They go through a lot, they've lost family. And I think it's a good reminder that we just have to have, like, remember the suicide hotline. So, and I'm sure you could post that on the website.
I will.
And we're all out here. Our numbers are there. We're always willing to talk to people. So, just
Good point.
something that was on my mind. So,
Thanks, Todd.
yeah.
Next, our fire chief, and as he's walking up here, I think he deserves a round of applause for graduating from Bowling Green State University.
Graduated.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. You have a copy of my report. The only thing I have to add is to boast a little bit for the union. They did the toy drive this year in conjunction with the city. And Pipe Doctor today donated an entire ambulance full of toys. So we accepted an exceedingly large donation. That was all their employees that did that. They did not solicit from the public. Their employees continued to collect toys as fast as possible. They did make that donation, so it is posted on Facebook, but I did want to recognize that because it was an exceedingly large donation. So that went to Toys for Tots. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
Except you
The union does
graduated.
plan on doing it next year as well to try to generate more businesses into it. So
And you graduated from,
I did graduate.
did you
from
want to tell us
Bowling
about
Green,
that a little bit?
yes. I do have a degree in fire administration. It's in the science and public administration section. So
From the
I did
University
get a
of?
bachelor's from the University of Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So I am now a Falcon alumni.
Oh,
Congratulations.
that's wonderful.
Other questions or comments for our fire chief?
I was just a little impressed, very impressed, Doug, that apparently you cooked dinner for the crew on Thanksgiving.
I did, yes. So every year on Thanksgiving and Christmas, I go in and cook dinner for them since they don't get to spend it with their families. So I ask them what they like. One year I had a vegetarian that I had to cook for, so I cooked the tofurkey one year. That was this year we did not have to do that, but I always ask them what they like or what their tradition is, and then I try to cook accordingly. They always try to help, but I tell them just to relax. I'm there to cook for them. I cook, and then I leave, go spend the time with my family, but they at least get a home-cooked meal, and they don't have to cook it.
Very
Nice.
nice.
And now that you kept me with questions, I did fail to mention here is my note. The new report, or part of the new report, is in the council packet, so you're gonna see what some of that change looks like. Yes, the data is still there. It will look differently, and that is only a partial piece, so they're still missing stuff because we don't have a whole month to collect from yet.
Yep.
So that'll continue to grow, and if there's questions, I'll continue to help you guys with that. But that's going towards the avenue for the new data.
Good. Alrighty, thank you. And it was reported that Kenny Blair is not feeling well, so unless our minister has any specific comments, I've got one question, but John, anything you want to add?
No.
One thing I would say is I want to thank the Public Works. I know trees and leaves have been coming down more recently, and they're back out at it again. Remind the citizens, if you do have, obviously, leaves, call the City Hall. I know they'll get out and get them. Alrighty.
I would also comment, Mayor, that we discussed it at the last meeting, but the handicap walk has been installed on the parking lot side of Prairie Trail.
Good, yes, thank you. Alrighty, next up is communication from council members, and we'll start with Todd Borowski.
No report tonight. Well, you know, I'm sorry I didn't make the tree commission graduation. Thank you, Mary. We had Jill and Wes that graduated. I was out of town, but the mayor and Mary did go, so congrats to both of you. And Merry Christmas to everybody. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Rozig?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. We had a safety committee meeting last week, and just a few things we discussed. One was the recent approval of the marijuana law in the state of Ohio. But apparently that's still under possible revision by the House of Representatives. And so there's really not much to do with that. We discussed the refurbishment of the fire truck, which I think we'll discuss in more detail during the budget process. There was a suggestion to put speed signs painted on the roadways in some of the areas of Waterville, and I think we'll have Kenny look into that, whether that type of paint on the road would cause any problem with traffic. We discussed police and fire staffing, which is moving right along. Ice skating rink, whether there is a safety issue for if we install ice skating in the city. Apparently not. John confirmed that our insurance would cover it just like it does a playground. And I always bring up bus safety, and Joe explained that we are monitoring the bus routes within Waterville and not looking for, but hoping there are no violators, but if there are, we'll get them, Joe, right? Other than that, we had no recommendations for the city. I also wanted to recognize, if I may, Mrs. Buffy's 4th grade class at Waterville Elementary School. I had the opportunity last week to speak to 4th graders. My grandson happens to be in the classroom. And so I talked about local government, but I was very impressed with those students in 4th grade. They really, I think they knew what I was talking about. So, and that's very unusual, obviously, but they had answers to all my questions. They had great questions. They knew what the Bill of Rights meant, rights versus responsibilities. Some of them actually knew that they lived in the township and not in the city, which was interesting. And they knew the name of our president, the governor, and our own mayor. They knew the name of our mayor. So it was very impressive. I just wanted to recognize Mrs. Buffy for the work she's doing, and the kids in the classroom. And then I was going to mention the amphitheater, but I think Phil covered that, so in good shape. That's all I have, Mayor.
Good, thank you. Anthony Bruno.
No report tonight, Mayor.
And Mary Duncan?
Todd took my speech. No, no report this evening.
Barbara Bruno.
Just wanted to report back to council. Parks and Rec did meet, and Rob Allen did come and present his idea for the ice skating rink, which was very well received by everyone. And along with a proposed budget of $888 is what was discussed. Is that right, Rob? Higher? Is it going up every day? $2,000. All right. We got to see a cost analysis of that. But obviously we talked about proposed locations. I guess, Rob, why don't you go ahead and talk if you're prepared or not prepared, just talk from your heart and what you know about location and going forward.
Thank you. Rob Allen, 425 Anthony Wayne Trail. Obviously, I went to the Parks Committee. This all started because somebody online said they missed having an ice rink here in the city. And the fire chief and I started talking about when we were kids here in the city, and there used to be an ice rink that the city used to put together behind the library every year. And it just kind of got a life of its own, and somehow Doug and I got to talking about what could we do, could we put it together, and we started asking questions of some of you. And then we went to the Parks Committee, who said, yes, let's do it, that sounds great. And meanwhile, online, there was literally, I think we're up well over 100 people or more that are commenting to every day. I've been stopped at Circle K and asked, when are they gonna open this thing? I'm buying my kids skates for Christmas because we're building an ice rink. There's just a tremendous amount of support with it in the community. So we looked at a couple of different locations. We looked at Prairie Park. Unfortunately, it is just not level enough without us having to, Rod and I went out and walked through that to see if it was viable there. It's just not level enough to put an ice rink in that area without a lot of cribbing on one side or another, where you'd have a very steep fall off of one end of the rink, and we don't think that would be a good idea. So then we went up to Conrad and looked inside the ball diamond there, and we could fit a relatively nice size, roughly about half the size of a regulation hockey rink inside the ball diamond there, where there's lighting, seating, a lot of the things that we would want for the citizens to have there in that location. So that's where we're looking at to just give it a try and see what we can do with it for a year. I have maintained with everybody I've talked to, this is at Mother Nature's behest. If she is the final arbiter of whether or not there will be ice on the ice rink. So, and that's where we're at right now.
Good. Council questions?
Have you looked at the temperatures for the last 3 or 4 years in January and February?
Yeah, when you get into January and February, it's a little bit more promising. You know, I mean, obviously last weekend it was 60. This weekend it's supposed to be 50. So
yeah,
not you know, we're in an El Nino year. We were talking about that when you were in executive session about, you know, again, this is up to Mother Nature.
Absolutely.
So
Can we get a refrigeration unit to put in it to keep it cold?
you could, but those I did some research on that for the mayor, and those things run anywhere from $7,000 all the way up to $60,000, depending on what you want to do size-wise. But that's a lot more of a permanent fixture, and I think the path ahead is, let's see how this goes. Let's see the community use. Let's see what we get from the community as feedback, and if there is something like that, something like to the left of the parking lot in Parker Park or something like that isn't developed yet, would be a great idea to put something like that, where during the summer you could have a pad that could be used for roller skating or skateboards, and then in the wintertime we turn it into an ice rink. So there's a lot of options there going forward, but that's for all of you to decide.
Good.
Just food for thought. I know you're probably looking at a rectangle. Have you thought about doing a circle so everyone kind of goes the same way?
Had not thought about that, but can definitely take it into consideration. Yeah.
Barb, did the I'm not.
Todd.
Yeah, we'll just put them out
Well,
there.
I'm just, listen, it's not just that. I'm thinking you're gonna get kids
If
out
you
there
go
playing
to
hockey then, and
If you
then
go,
there's
to,
gonna
if
be
you go to
pucks
Ohio
and-
Skate, they're in a rectangle, but they all still know how to go in a circle.
I'm just
They
saying,
do it on their own. So
I've done both, and it's a lot easier to go in a big circle than,
People will go the wrong way anyway, Todd.
probably.
If anybody needs a Christmas present for Todd, let's get him on book how to skate.
there you go.
Thanks,
Barb, I
Rob.
was going to ask, so the Parks Recreation discussed it, supported it.
They
What do we need to do
recommended
to move forward then? What's
Well,
the,
they recommended to take it to council and let council decide to give it its blessing, and then Rob would work with the administrator to make it happen.
and I know that this is being planned and discussed as we speak, and, you know, the pricing is kind of a moving target, if you will. My only recommendation is, if we've got a relatively fair number, let's just put a little cushion on it, because I wouldn't want the group to get going and all of a sudden you got to do something that we didn't think of just because we haven't built a rink. So what might that budget be? I'll go to Barb first.
Well, I guess I
$2,000.
2,500 if you wanna buffer it, if that's what you're saying.
I mean,
If
up
he's
to
saying 2,000.
2,500.
Up to $2,500.
That way,
That's smart.
we could accomplish it. John, anything you need to do to be in a motion or?
Well, we're gonna talk about the 5-year capital
Okay,
in a minute.
all right, good.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. Anything else, Barb?
No, thank
All
you.
right. So, Rod Fry.
No report.
Okay. So a few things have been mentioned. I want to thank all the volunteers that helped out with our December 2nd downtown Christmas program. It was excellent. We had lots of activity here in the council chambers, on the church across the street, down in Parker Square. Probably my favorite one is Deluxe Frame Shop with Santa's Workshop. That was very, very well decorated, and they were all good. They were all good. So that, and then I want to also mention I did, like Todd mentioned, I did attend the Tree Commission meeting. Believe it or not, Waterville is well recognized in the region for the dedicated staff of volunteers we have in our Tree Commission, and our staff that were recognized that day as well. We talked about the ice skating rink. I also want to acknowledge the fire department for their efforts on the toy drive. Thank you. And we mentioned Doug Meyer for graduating from Bowling Green State University. And just for those that maybe didn't know it, earlier today at 7:15, we had a fire dependency meeting, or committee meeting, which we never want to have that except annually in December, just to get our board members in position. That has a tough task, and as I said, we never want to ever have to utilize that board. And then the other thing is, at 5:30, we had a Fallen Timbers Cemetery District meeting. Part of the reason was because we have two board members, one from White House, Rebecca Conklin, and Rod Fry from Waterville, that will be stepping off council, so we had to replace those two persons, and Mary Duncan from Waterville was selected to serve that seat, as well as Luann Antiago in White House, and that took place at 5:30. Mary talked about earlier about December 20th is a first annual inaugural Christmas giving program here in Waterville, open to the public. It's a way to collect some food for actually folks that live in Waterville that could use a little extra boost at Christmas time. Anything left over will be donated to the Anthony Wayne Pantry, and that takes place December 20th at the Liberty House. Thanks to Shauna Horvath, she's going to open up her facility. It's a great facility to be in. She has it all decorated. You know, bring your families, take pictures. Santa Claus will be there, and there'll be some cookies and treats along the way. That begins at 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock. And that's all I have. All right. Next is ordinance number 1223. An ordinance amending, I got one more item. We also have some appointments for our boards and committees for the next couple of years. I have a proposed appointments that council has received. One addition, because I had not spoken to this person until over the weekend, actually this morning we talked, but Terry Matucci has agreed to serve on the Tree Commission, so if you would please mark that down, and her term would expire December 31, 2026. It's a 3-year term. So there's a few other assignments that will come later, but this is the bulk of them. These are volunteers that have served well on these committees, and they've asked to be reappointed. And when openings happen, we select other folks to serve on committees. So, council, any questions before we take a motion on this? So again, add Terry Masucci for the Tree Commission, and then I'll just need a motion to move forward with the proposed appointments.
So moved.
Mary Duncan, need a second?
Second.
Second, Barbara Bruno. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, I will add one thing that in our municipal code, there are a few committees that are set up by the charter, and that being Finance, Tree Commission, Planning, and Zoning Appeal. The others are appointed by council as needed. And then additionally, we will have some other committees into early '24. You've heard me talk about some ad hoc committees. The eclipse coming up in April. We're going to talk to the schools and have a joint effort. We have some other things that will come up on the agenda later. So believe me, there are many opportunities to become involved in Waterville. And just because you're not named on a committee, please plan to attend the meetings and so forth. So, thank you. Now we'll move on to old business. 1223, an ordinance amending the Charter 172 of the Waterville Municipal Code of Ordinances regarding municipal income tax. In compliance with the Ohio Bill 33, first reading was scheduled and held on November 13th. The second reading was scheduled for November 27th. The third reading, the legislative action, is scheduled for December 11th. John, would you please add to that?
Thank you, Mayor. This is some proposed amendments that bring the city into compliance with the changes that were mandated to municipal income taxes by Ohio, House Bill 33. And RETA, the Regional Income Tax Agency of Ohio, has prepared the legal updates that are necessary to comply with House Bill 33, and this is our third reading.
Okay, I need a motion to move forward with ordinance number 1223.
So moved.
So moved, John Rosick. The second?
Second.
Second, Rod Fry. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Mr. Rozak?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Frye?
Yes.
All right, next is Resolution 5123, a resolution approving and adopting the City of Waterville's 2024 5-year capital planning program for all municipal funds and departments. John, would you like to elaborate, please?
Okay, well, this is our annual 5-year capital program. We look at this as we prepare for the end of the year, and all the department heads submit their requests. So we've had this in front of the Finance Committee, which has recommended approval, and they are recommending approval of the way that the budget was put together, not what is being proposed to be spent. In my report, I did mention that we did add a couple things. The deck at the Chamber building is in pretty bad shape, so we added some money there. We added some money for contract services for the 5-year capital, so that could also include an ice rink. So that's contract services, and then we added a $300,000 appropriation for the Phase 3 of the Parker Square project, so that is also included as well.
Excellent.
Questions for John?
I have a couple, of course,
Yes,
but
sir.
I'll defer to the rest of council or I'll start. Shall I start?
Go ahead, John.
Just a couple things, John, I want to mention or ask about. One is under the elected appointed officials budget for 2024, there's an upgrade in the AV equipment in council chambers.
Correct.
Just want to make sure you're going to look into upgrading our microphones.
Yes.
All right, that's good. And then we have a proposal to look into, if I can find it, recycling, a recycling yard waste facility, a feasibility study. And I would just like that study to include a study of what it would cost to provide pickup service in the community, you know, at the curb for yard waste, branches, grass, and so forth, rather than finding a place to put a yard waste facility or, you know, having to drive to other locations.
Yes, you know, that would include looking at cost estimates for residential pickup of grass and brush.
So that would be part of the study?
Yes.
Yep, good, okay. And then my other questions really for Doug probably would be with regard to the refurbishing or purchasing of a new engine. I know we talked about this at the safety committee, but maybe just for the record, Doug, if you could explain the difference and why we would spend for one and not the other.
Yes, so to clarify that, in trying to be fiscally responsible on things, there has been new ideas out there about how to save money on fire trucks. Ever since COVID, fire trucks have gone way up in cost and the production time has significantly increased. To give you an example, we bought that engine during COVID. We paid total out the door about $700,000 roughly. I could have drove it off the lot, which normally depreciates it, turned around, drove it back, and probably sold it for about $900. Their 2-year production, the cost is just continuing to rise. So in looking into this, we worked with a couple of departments on finding out that Pierce trucks, when you have a good frame and a good body that is not in need of any repairs, they can update those, bring them up to the new standard for about half the cost. So the 1998 truck we have taken very good care of. The frame is in very good shape. The suspension's in good shape, and we have kept up on the motor work. So we feel that it is in the best interest to estimating that a new engine will be about 1.2 million at that point, that we can spend roughly 700 to get this done. Now, with that being said, we have it broken up because the idea is that Pierce will come out and look at it they will bring engineers down here, they'll look at it to make sure that we will be able to do what we think we're gonna do, that the truck is capable of that. Good trucks in, good trucks come out. And that way we'll know if it's gonna work or not. If it won't, at that point, I can work with Mr. Gokenauer and he will be in touch with you guys and we can come up with an alternative plan. But the idea right now is that would be what we would wanna do. It's a good truck, there's nothing wrong with it. We would just bring it up to the newer standards and save some money.
So what makes it need refurbishing?
So there's a lot of things in it. The pump itself, the piping that goes from the tank to the pump wears out. Valves wear from being open and closed, things like that. Light packages go from halogen to LED. They would redo some of the cabinetry so that we don't have random extension cords trying to power things. They'll actually put power into the cabinets, things like that, things that weren't available in 1998. The command zone, which is the electronic control system inside those engines, would be able to be added to that so we could see what's going on at all times in those inside the engine. All of our new rigs have the command zone, so they're able to put that into that one. They would upgrade the foam system from a Foam Pro, which was at the time Premier. Now that we flow F500, the Husky foam system is now the Premier. They would change that out as well. They would add the front bumper to it to match the rest of our rigs so that we would have a line on the front bumper. That rig currently doesn't have a front bumper. It was ordered that way. But we would add it so that they would be able to bring it up to a lot of the standards that we've had.
So it's almost like making it
like a brand new engine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct. And you would get another, it extends the life of the truck roughly between 15 to 18 years. A brand new one is between 20 and 25, so you don't get quite as much, but you've also taken a rig that's 1998 and given it yet a whole nother 15 to 20 years worth of life.
Yeah. Basically, it's front to back. I mean, it's the whole.
They're going to go through all of it, even repaint it. They'll take care of any little bits of corrosion that could be on some of the doors and things. You know, the little tiny spots. They clear all that up to keep it from getting worse. It would come back looking just like the brand new one we got.
Yeah.
Now, there was, as it mentioned at public safety, there was one disadvantage that was brought up by one of the safety members, is typically when we order new ones, it's on order, when it comes in, old one's retired, new one in. In the interim, while it's being refurbished, we would be down to 2 pieces of apparatus instead of 3. But I kind of addressed those concerns with the public safety committee, and they didn't seem to have any issues with the plan going forward.
Good, thanks, Doug.
Hey Doug, do they, I assume they go through the engine and the suspension and drivetrain and everything when
Yeah.
they do this full refurbish?
So when they take it all down, we'll set money aside. When they take it all down, there's always a distinct possibility that you could run into something like that. But they are able to make those factory level repairs when they do that. Wasion's done this twice. They're on their 3rd one. Perrysburg's getting ready to do it. There's a lot of places now, because the wait time is so long for new ones and the cost is so high, that if you maintain your equipment and you don't run it into the ground, this is a great way to get a cost savings and regenerate equipment that you've taken care of. So, but yeah, they'll go through all of that stuff, and if there needs to be a repair, they'll let you know. It may, be one of those, I forget what you call it as a project, a change work order. There could always be something that would come up, but we're also going to try to accommodate for some of that in the budget. So we think we'll be able to hit the budget. And
Anybody-
again, Pierce will come and look at that. If we agree to the 5-year that this is gonna go forward and that's where we're going, we're actually gonna start in 2024. We'll have the salesperson come down and some of the people start looking at it then, so that we're not waiting till the last minute only to find out, oops, or, oh, it's way more, or, oh, it's this, or.
I was just gonna say, Mayor, anybody that's been in the fire station knows that you take care of the stuff that's in there. The
Yeah.
equipment, all in great shape. So it's really a compliment that we can refurbish a 25-year-old piece of equipment and make it as good as new.
Yes, and for half the cost.
Yeah.
How long of a process is it?
They said that depending on what happens when they get in there, but they're estimating 8 months, on the long side on purpose, because they don't want you to get, it could come back quicker and then we're happy, but if they say 6 months and it turns into 8, then we're not happy. So they try to estimate the longer side, but Pierce is, because they're so far behind, Pierce closed the Wyoega factory in Wisconsin, which is the refurbished factory, and they took those workers into the main factory to try to pump out more brand new trucks. What they did do with that is the engineers that were signed to that division are still working for Pierce, but they've scattered them. So Findlay, Ohio, where Atlantic Emergency is now a refurbishment facility. So we won't have to take it to Wisconsin, it'll stay here in Ohio. It will have to go to a different facility to be painted, up near Twinsburg, which is the Cleveland area, still in Ohio, so it will help with some of that as well. Thank you.
Anything else for the chief? Thank you, well explained and good question, John.
I think Mary has a question.
Oh, go ahead,
I
Mary.
think.
So Doug,
Yes,
what's my standard question? Is everything you need in here?
yes.
Is there
everything.
anything else you could dream up that you might want someday?
No, right now we're looking real good right now. The only thing that I will say, and I've tried to do the best that I could with hose, and Mr. Gokenauer's done a real good job supporting me on that. If we were to have a bunch go bad during a hose testing that I can't foresee, we could run into a small dilemma. There may not be enough budgeted money, but I also don't want to budget a whole bunch of money for no reason either. So we're trying to accommodate that. I do have hose in there because we'll buy some.
Yeah.
If there happens to be a large failure. But I think we'll deal with it when it comes, and I'm sure I could address it with Mr. Gokenauer.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, my position is that we probably should move forward with the 5-year capital, keeping in mind, next year, when we look ahead, there always can be adjustments. There can be adjustments anytime, but I think this frees up the staff and the administration to, put together that framework. So I don't think there's any harm in moving forward with approving the 5-year capital. So I need a motion to accept resolution 5123.
Tim, I'm so sorry, I had one quick question.
Go
before
right
we move
ahead.
forward with that.
Remember that Christmas present I was
Yeah.
asking you about?
Return it.
Go ahead.
So, we had talked last year, and I got the county to do, you and I got the county to do everything at the roundabouts. We have volunteers willing to do the planning of the annuals and perennials in the areas in the roundabouts. You had said we would get some money towards that, John. Is that in the budget to put a little bit of money for the volunteers to get some plants in there? Because I know it's not in our city, but we want to maintain that.
Well, that's what we could use the contract services for. And I added 20,000 in there, and part of that is for the baseball fields. I mean, we added Waterworks Park last year, so we're gonna have to spend a little bit more money to maintain Waterworks, and then, you know, I think Mary mentioned this, is, you know, the park fund is kind of static. It's based on cable revenues and things like that. So take a little bit of pressure off the park and green space fund and add some
Add
money
to that,
into the
okay.
5-year capital fund. So,
Okay. I just want to make sure it's covered. Thank you, John.
Todd, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up because that was a long it was a long process. And we have a lot of volunteers in the audience and up here that made that happen. All right, so
Where were we?
we are moving forward to Resolution 5123. We had a motion.
We didn't have a motion yet, I don't think.
I'm asking for a motion for 5123.
So moved.
So moved. Anthony Bruno, need a second?
second.
Second, Rod Fry.
I would say, you're gonna call for comment or further discussion?
Go ahead.
I would only say that this is probably the least controversial 5-year capital budget that we've looked at since I've been on council. It's very straightforward. There's really no major expenses that we're even approving in future years that I saw that are really out of the ordinary, other than the fire truck. That's probably the major one on here.
Right.
So it's great. I think our finance people in the building and the finance committee did a great job with this budget.
Good. All right, it's been moved and seconded, Resolution 5123. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are approved. Next, new business. Ordinance 1323, an ordinance adopting the annual appropriations for the municipality of Waterville for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024, and repealing ordinance 1423 and declaring emergency. The first reading is scheduled for December 11th, tonight. The second reading, public hearing, is scheduled for January the 8th, 2024. Third reading and legislative action scheduled for January 22nd, 2024. John, did you want to make some comments?
Thank you, Mayor. This is our operating budget, and this is the first presentation to council. We have until March 1st to pass this by charter. The 2024 appropriation includes all of the items in the 5-year capital. We're also addressing some budget dependent items, and I mentioned Phase 3 of Parker Square, Farnsworth Road water line improvement, police and fire equipment, and roadway improvements. We're basing the operating budget on a 1% increase, and we're expecting about a little over $5 million in total receipts for 2023, so we're adding a 1% increase to that. So that brings us up to about $5,146,262. That's what we're looking at for 2024. We have our usual 75-25 split between the general fund and the 5-year capital fund. 75% goes to the general fund, 25% goes to the capital fund. We're looking to transfer $187,000 from the general fund to the 5-year capital fund to pre-fund our expenditures in the out years in the 5-year capital. We're looking at a transfer of $315,000 from the general fund to park and green space, predominantly for the Phase 3 of the Parker Square project. Real estate taxes, that's a major part of the general fund. That is, we're expecting about $640,500. The fire levy fund is also a real estate based tax, and we're expecting about $592,000 for the fire levy fund. Essentially, we're not expecting much growth in the real estate tax area for 2024. We are looking at a $910,000 transfer from the general fund to the fire levy fund in 2024. We discussed this at the finance committee and the safety committee. We are looking to add 2 full-time people, and that is in the appropriation to accommodate our transition into the ALS changes that Lucas County is making, and that's expected to take effect in June of 2024. We also get general fund revenue from the state of Ohio, local government fund, and again, has been pretty static for a number of years. We're not really expecting an increase there. We also have our fire levy, our fire contract from Waterville Township, so that's included. And I did mention that currently we have 7 full-time firefighter, paramedic, EMTs positions, and we're looking to add 2 additional, so that is in the budget. Historically, we've had 1 seasonal, but the last couple years we've added another seasonal, and that's worked out well. They help the street department from approximately April through November, leaf pickup, early spring cleanup, that kind of thing. And then, of course, we do contract out some of our grass mowing, leaf collection, sidewalk repair, snow removal, and then the regional income tax. Our collective bargaining agreements, we have the Public Works Department we have a proposed contract with the Public Works Department. We have step increases that are in the contracts for the police and fire departments, so essentially those are in there by contract. And then non-bargaining unit employees, 1% increase, and then plus a 1% merit increase. That would be for the non-bargaining unit employees. 2% employee match is being continued, and that's also for the non-bargaining unit employees. We have a $50 per year longevity payments that we have for employees that were hired prior to January 1st of 2015. We are expecting a 3.8% increase in medical, dental, and vision insurance for next year. That would take effect in August of 2024. The employee contribution is 15%, and that is staying unchanged. We have our contribution that we make to the Roche de Boeuf Festival every year, looking at subsidizing or providing a subsidy to the Waterville Community Improvement Corporation. And as I mentioned earlier, we have our franchise fees for the cable that go to the Parks and Green Space Council, the refuse fee is going up. That would go up in May of 2024, and that's an increase to $12.98 per month per dwelling unit from $12.58. And then by charter, council salaries increase, and that's in the charter. So there's a increase of $22 per month. Your monthly pay is going up from $762.90 to it's going up to $762.90 from $740.68. So that's in the charter. That's by charter. The safety committee, safety city program, we're continuing our support for that. And the 911 services, there's no longer a subsidy for the city, so we're paying the full amount there, and I believe that's in around $189,000. So that's 100% cost, and that's based on our calls. And as I mentioned prior meetings, we're looking at those and trying to keep our costs down there. So that is the proposed 2024 operating budget.
Thank you, and as mentioned, we'll have the first reading tonight. Certainly council can ask questions, but we won't take any action tonight, so if we're okay, we will move on from there. Next is ordinance number 1423, an ordinance adopting the temporary appropriation for the municipality of Waterville for the months of January and February 2024, and repealing ordinance 1523 and declaring an emergency. John, would you elaborate, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Since, according to the charter, we have until March 1st to enact the operating budget, this is our temporary appropriation that would get us through the months of January and February. Every year, we present a revision to council in January, at the end of January. At that time, for the most part, we have our carryover balance. We know our revenue, our expense, and we adjust the budget with actual expenditures and revenues as opposed to estimated revenues and expenditures. So this kind of helps us between now and March 1st.
Okay, I need a motion, excuse me, I'm gonna move that we suspend, the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 1423 as an emergency measure.
Second.
Second, Tom Borowski. Roll call?
Mr. Fry,
Yes.
Mr. Burton,
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno,
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan,
Yes.
Mayor Petro,
Yes.
Mr. Prozak,
Yes.
Mr. Brusky.
Yes.
Good. Now I move for the final passage of ordinance number 1423, first and final reading at an emergency measure. I need a roll call or a motion on that. Roll call? A motion, please.
So moved.
Rod Fry, need a second?
Second.
Second, John Rozak. Any more discussion?
The only
Roll call.
discussion is if we don't do this, we'll have to close the doors on January 1st, right?
We do it every year.
Roll call.
Mr. Brusky,
Yes.
Mr. Rozak,
Yes.
Mr. Burton. Yes. Mayor Petro,
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan,
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Fry.
Yes.
The only thing I will mention, and will come up later, but later in a couple of meetings, that always like to know at the end of the year that the staff will balance the books. There'll be some funding that will be somewhat left over, and obviously I'm liking that we try and increase some of the funding for roads, but I'm not ready to ask for that tonight, but come February 1 I will be. All right, moving on. Resolution 1523.
52.
Resolution amending Resolution 5223, authorizing the transfer in cash funds, the general fund 100 to the fire levy fund 265. John, I think you talked about that before, but can you,
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution that amends Resolution 52-23, and that was passed at your November 27th, 2023 public meeting. What we'd like to do is, instead of an advance, we'd like to have a transfer. An advance has to be paid back within a year, and the fire levy fund is kind of unique. It's unique compared to the other funds. It's essentially a payroll fund, which covers payroll, and as I mentioned, the revenue we receive from the real estate tax doesn't cover all of our payroll personnel expenses in the fire fund. So to do an advance, we would just end up transferring money in any way to pay back the advance. So we'd like to amend that prior resolution from an advance to a transfer.
okay, a motion to accept Resolution 1523?
That's Resolution 5323, Your Honor. And I'll
53,
make,
thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Mike, all right, thank you. Need a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? Roll call? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All righty. Next is ordinance 1523, an ordinance amending the ordinance 1123, the amendment of fiscal year 2023 annual appropriation ordinance, and declaring an emergency. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This is our annual, I guess we call it our cleanup legislation that we pass at the end of the year. This has some adjustments to it, and a lot of the adjustments are routine that get us through to the end of the year, since this is our last council meeting of the year. But significant items are our increase in income tax. So it's $535,872. Our December sewer bill, we need to add a little money to that to get us through the end of the year. And then we had a capital project, which was the 2022 building generator project. And due to COVID, we had about a 60-month delivery time for our 2 generators, one for this building and one for the Public Works building. And we did not keep encumbered the carryover from 2022 to 2023, so we're adding that back into to the budget at this time. That was approved by Resolution 20-22.
All right, I move that the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 1523 as an emergency measure. Need a second?
Second?
Second, Anthony Bruno. Any more discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Mr. Rozak?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mayor Beatrice?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Frye?
Yes.
I move the final passage of ordinance number 1523, first and final reading as an emergency measure. I need a second, or I need a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second?
All right, any more discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Frye?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Rozak?
Yes.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Resolution 5423, a resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a contract with Waterville LTD for planning and consulting services related to the update of the City of Waterville's 2012 comprehensive plan. John, would you please elaborate?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution and it authorizes a contract with Waterville of Bowling Green, Ohio for the planning and consulting services related to the update of our 2012 comprehensive plan at a cost of $50,000. Waterville is working with a local engineering firm, Manick and Smith, and they're in Maumee, so they will be handling, you know, the transportation and some of the engineering parts, but they're working together under this this contract. The plan for the update of the comprehensive plan is to divide it into 2 phases, and it should take about a year to complete both. This is phase 1, and it should last 6 to 8 months. Predominantly, the first phase is, you know, looking at our existing conditions, updating our existing data. Waterville did our 2012 comprehensive plan, so they have all that base data that they can update, and they also have done the comprehensive plans in Springfield, Monclova, and Sylvania Townships in Lucas County. They are working on Northwood, Ohio's comp plan, and that's an interesting project. It was in the Blade recently. The Enclave, I guess they're redoing the old Woodville Mall, you know, so they're doing a lot of unique things. They've also done the master plan for the city of Bowling Green for their downtown redevelopment. So I think they would be a good fit for us, and they have been in business since 1998, and looking forward to getting this underway.
Council, any questions for John? I've got a couple comments, but I'll.
Of course I do, Mayor, but
I wasn't looking that way, but all right. Go ahead, John.
it's this is phase 1, and I assume that means there's a phase 2, John, and I wondered what the difference is between phase 1 and phase 2, and what the cost, if we know what the cost for phase 2 would be.
Well, the estimated cost for phase 2 would probably be in the neighborhood of 15 to 20,000. The entire plan should take about a year to update, and the first part is 6 to 8 months, and that has a lot of public participation, a lot of meetings, finding out what people are thinking in regards to you know, the next 10 years, how they want the city of Waterville to look, and then the last part of it would be, you know, implementation strategies, things like that. We took a look at your roads, and, you know, we feel you should apply for a grant to improve the you know, the off ramp or on ramp on 24, or a safety study here or something, you know, implementation strategies they'd like to, that's part two, so according to the consultant and based on their proposal, it's, it's the last 3 to 4 months of the proposed update. So they're estimating 15 to 20 to kind of bring everything together and provide implementation strategies for the comprehensive plan.
And when would they start?
Well, they could start in January.
So we're gonna talk about that, but it'll be the first quarter, probably February in all honesty, but I guess we're gonna get through tonight, and my recommendation is that we would begin to, internally map out some milestones, but we'll drive the ship, but we'll get a lot of volunteers to help us as well.
Yep.
John, anything else?
Nope, thank you, Mayor. Thanks, John.
Anyone else? I got a couple comments, but I would just add that I'm familiar with the company from Northwood, Ohio. I've spoken to the administrator over there, and I know in the last year there's been a lot of ideas going forward. They have an excellent Northwood. They have an excellent community center, senior center that's part of this. They got some nice housing and some commercial and some other businesses on the old Woodville Mall. And I think all of you might remember that that mall was tired for a while. It took a long time to get it off the ground, but these are the kinds of things, the planning that takes place, and we're a little bit ahead of the game because we've got some data that already in the book. So I think it's great. It's the right time, the right time of the year, the right plan. So I'm in favor of moving forward, and I just need a motion to go forward with resolution 5423. I need a motion.
So moved?
So moved, Mary Duncan. Need a second?
Second.
Second, John Rozak. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 5523, a resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 20 and authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a proposed collective bargaining agreement. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution will authorize approval of the proposed collective bargaining agreement with the Public Works Department employees, and they are represented by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 20, and Council has reviewed the proposed agreement, and it's a 3-year agreement which contains wage increases for the bargaining unit. And as we've done for the police, the fire, we want to try to stay competitive with other communities and retain the employees that we have.
Okay, I need a motion to accept resolution 5523.
So moved.
So moved, Todd Borowski. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Rod Fry. Any discussion? I have just one item. I'm aware that obviously we had good bargaining meetings. Staff were very enthusiastic about moving forward, so I think it's a representative of what a great community we have that we brought this to a conclusion quickly. So it's been moved and seconded, 5523 resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, we have just a couple last year-end stuff we got to do. That's all good. So I'm going to go to the microphone, and if you will sit back and enjoy this presentation, and then we'll have some comments afterwards. Doug, let me know when you're ready to start, and then I'm going to make some comments.
Maybe.
Who said you gotta live in Maumee to get a theater? We got one right here.
Look at that.
Wow. When's the last time we used that?
It's been a while.
I might want to dim the lights if we can. Pardon me? No, no, not yet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So before you start, tell me when you're ready. Right. So, we, each year, or when a council member steps off, there's various, attaboys, we handshake and, give them a good boy. So this year is a little bit different because we have both two excellent council members that are stepping off. Barb being a longtime committee council member when we were a village, and I started with her back then, and then obviously as a city. And Rod, obviously vice mayor, and served on our council. So we thought it would be appropriate that we just put together a couple clips from folks that had some words to say about these two fine human beings.
Rod and Barb, on behalf of the staff, we'd like to thank you for your service, your time, your commitment, and your leadership, and the positive impact that you both have made on this community. An impact which is much greater than most of you may realize, and that Waterville is a much better place because of it. Thank you.
Rod, I appreciate all the time and energy you put into your position as a city council member, and the last 2 years as our vice mayor. Rod, I know you like hockey, and you kind of remind me of Wayne Gretzky. A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. And Rod, you have always known the issues. You've always thought ahead of where you should be and where we should be on certain issues. And to me, that's a credit to your willingness to study the issues. With your finance background, you were a great asset to our finance committee. Obviously, another instrumental organization that you were heavily involved in, and thank you very much, was our cemetery district. And so for that, we thank you, Rod. Barb, you and I served on village council, yes, village council, many, many years ago. Barb, I want you to know that I look upon you with your willingness to look at issues and present the other side and take time to learn as much about an issue as possible. And then when a decision needed to be made, you made it, we moved on. To me, you've always been willing to have the citizens of Waterville at the forefront. No politics. You just want to do what is best for the city of Waterville. Barb, you were one of the ones way back when that brought back the fireworks. So again, to you and Rob and your family, I thank you and appreciate all you've done for our community. And I know you're only a phone call away, and believe me, you will get a phone call.
Barb, congratulations on a great term on council. We want to thank you so much for all the work you did to bring Waterworks Trust back to the community so girls like these two and all their friends and teammates can play softball in a wonderful community park. You've done a great job on council and you're going to be greatly missed, Barb. We love you.
Thank you, Barb. We love you. Somebody is a heck of a mission. Logical, business-oriented, detail-oriented. Rod has also been an excellent member of the Waterville Council, along with Barb Bruno. Barb is down to earth, foresight, and has always come up with creative means to move Waterville forward. And I'm very lucky to be the city attorney for such wonderful people and such dedicated public. From Waterville Police Department, we want to thank you for your support over the years. It's been a pleasure and an honor working with you.
Rod, to you first, great job on council. You're going to be missed. I hope you find something fun to do on your Mondays and stay in touch with city matters and stay in touch with us. Barbara, great run on council. 3 or 4 terms, I don't know. You served well. You served with integrity, honesty, dedication. Love you guys.
Water Fire Department also thanks you for your time, especially on the Waterville Police, the extra things that you've done for us and the support that you've given us. Thank you.
Mom, I just wanted to take a second and congratulate you for everything you've accomplished during your time on council. I have such amazing memories as a kid of helping you campaign, going door to door, and doing the Ruby Loop parades. And you have given me such an appreciation for small town politics. And I'm inspired by you and your commitment to the town. And thank you for helping to shape Waterville into the town and city it is now, where I'm raising my own children in it.
Rod Fry of Waterville and I are pioneers with our municipality's founding members on the cemetery district's trustee board. It has been an honor to serve alongside Rod, for he is a true public servant. He does this work with absolute selflessness, devotion and dedication, and a true love for his community. And on behalf of all of the elected officials and administrators and clerks and staff of the Farmington Ravine Cemetery District, and my family members who are buried here, Rod, thank you.
Thank you for your support, public works over the years. It's not gone unnoticed. Barb, I promise you, we will have a street sweeper next year. Rob, I appreciate your supervising some of our roads, South River Road, adjacent to your house.
I wanted to say thank you so much to both of you for doing many years of service and for working hard for Waterville, making it a better place to live. Rod, we've had fun conversations back and forth, and I've gotten to know you better. And Barb, I feel like I've known you forever, even though we have the same last name. You're my mom, and I owe you a lot of Mother's Day gifts, and you owe me a lot of Christmas gifts. I look forward to working with both of you in the future and maintaining our friendships. Thank you very much for everything you've done for this city.
Appreciate all of the services you provided. It was very helpful in finance questions, and very good in that. We will miss you, and God will miss you.
My mentor, Barb Bruno, thank you for everything you've done. Waterville is definitely a better place while you were on council. You are awesome. Rod, you are amazing. You saved the cemetery district. It's definitely your legacy. You did an amazing job at council, and I really enjoyed serving you both.
Hey Barb, Derek Marin here. Hey, congratulations on so many great years of service to the city of Waterville. You did such a great job, and you deserve our thanks for making Waterville better, for taking all your time and resources and devoting to the community. And we have been privileged. Everyone in Waterville has been privileged to have you serve them and just make Waterville a better place for everyone. So thank you so much, and we got to get you back in at some point. But for right now, thanks for everything.
To Councilman Fry, I just want to say a big thank you for showing up at our meetings so many years back, just because you were an interested citizen and sitting through months and months of those meetings. And when I finally introduced myself, I was so happy to hear that you were just there because you were an interested citizen. I was so excited when you were able to serve on council. You brought so much knowledge from your fiscal background to your business background and banking, and just your common sense and calm, Rod. You were just such good voice of reason for council. Thank you for all you've done for our city. You love it. It's your home. You've really enjoyed it, and I know that you really, really care about our town. To the other councilwoman, Barb Bruno, I would like to say a huge thank you. You served in the 1990s before I knew you, and then you came back in the 2000s, and you just finished up 12 years. And I really appreciate your service. I know the citizens appreciate it. You could not have done a better job these last 3 terms. You are very compassionate, caring, thoughtful, and I think all of the citizens appreciate that. Always have time for everyone. And the other thing that you bring is you are not afraid to speak the truth, and you will speak it about easy topics and hard topics, which is especially difficult. And I really do appreciate that about you. Just know that I am so proud of you, sister. I think you did a great job.
Everybody, we know that you a lot for me, which must be a very special feeling for you. But thank you so much for everything you've done for the community and for council. I know it's always held a very special place in your heart, the people and the work. We're so proud of you. We're proud. Thanks for everything you've done on council. We really appreciate it. Love you.
Thank you, Barb and Rod, for your dedicated and distinguished service on Waterville City Council. I appreciate all that you've accomplished for Waterville and all of your contributions to our success. What I would also like to say, as I always do, is that it has been great fun, because it has been fun. And when it hasn't been fun, well, at least it's been interesting. Stand all the way you can. All the best wishes to both of you and to Rob and Barb. Thank you again.
Wow.
These students pay attention. They came right up here. I like that. So we do have some other guests in the audience, but I want to recognize Barb Fry. She deserves a round of applause too. Thank you. So we will start with Rod. I'm not going to relive what was said on the tape, but Rod was one of the guys sitting right in the audience, meeting after meeting. I leaned over, I said, who is that guy? Every meeting he's here. I mean, we're not passing out popcorn, we're not doing anything like that, but Rod took time way back when to get involved and did a great job then, great job as council member, as vice mayor. And so the video says it all. I'm not going to elaborate further, but we have one token of appreciation for you, Rod. This is something we're proud of in the Caruth Studio family. It is a nice plaque and from Caruth. I want you to have that. Thank you, Rod. Thank you. Barb, I lost my notes. No, seriously, Barb has been the lightning rod of our council. Thank you. Now, we're not going to let him go that quick. We're going to have Rod say a few things and then Barb. Rod, you got to go to the microphone.
Name and address, Rod.
Yeah. I don't live in Waterville.
Sorry. Wow, guys, thank you very much. I'm a little speechless here. This has been a lot of fun. Mayor's right. I started coming to these council meetings probably in 2011, 2012, just because I wanted to know what was going on. I mean, partially because of the business that I'm in, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to find out what was going on. I came to plan commissions. I came to the council meetings. I always remember this. Councilman Chuck Larkin. I would walk in and say, "Okay, we can go ahead and start the meeting." Our 7th council members here. So, but I really was interested in what was going on, and I have to thank our former mayor, Lori Brody, because she's the one that really, and Mary, those two were the ones that got me to step up and start doing things. Really, Mary got me on charter review, so, Lori Brody got me on charter review. So anyhow, it's been fun for the most part. We've accomplished a lot. I really have made a lot of friends that I know I'll have forever. I really did this because I wanted to give back to my community, and it's been great. I mean, the cemetery district has been very rewarding. It was a lot of hard work in the first 2 years, and I know most of you, oh, Rod, you're doing a great job in the cemetery district, you know, because you didn't want to do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, that's all the fun stuff. So, again, I got to thank, you know, all of you. You've helped me a lot. 2 people that really did a lot for me early on was Lori Brody and Ninja Bagdonis. I mean, when I came in here, I had to learn a lot. I felt good about the financial background, but I did learn a lot about government. And I remember Lori, she always says, "Now, Rod, you got to understand, you know, things take a little longer in government." So, and that's right, it does take a little longer. So, and thanks, Barb. I love you. I know I've been away from the house a lot, but now you're going to be stuck with me for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th Monday of each month. So, there you go. It's been fun. Thank you very much.
So as I mentioned, Barb Fry's here. The young lady that took the time in less than 10 days, a week, to put together the video was Holly Flanner, Barb's daughter, and she did a remarkable job. And I want you to know that the original tapings was about 45 minutes. I was not 30 minutes. I was only about 6, and she did a good job of editing me down. No, seriously, she did a great job. She couldn't be here tonight. But again, that's the beauty we have of our youth and our younger leaders in our community, and they have the trails that Barb and Rod have set for our community. So Barb, come on up and let's have another round of applause for you.
All right. I haven't stood at this podium for a long time. I first want to thank my constituents. I would never have had this incredible opportunity if the people of Waterville wouldn't have believed in me many years ago and then brought me back consecutively year after year, because a lot of people weren't doing it then. But it has truly been a privilege serving you all, and it's been challenging, and it's been enriching, and so my first gratitude is to you, and then to my fellow council members that I have served with, many, many different people over the years. It is an esteemed group, and when you get the privilege to serve in that capacity, you will know what I'm talking about. And each and every one of these people have shaped me and molded me and grown me, and I can't believe I'm done. But it has been a wonderful ride, and thank you for that incredible video and all those kind words. And it is, I love you all, in the good times and the bad.
All right, get back to your stations, please. We're not done.
Stations.
Well, sorry.
Alrighty, that concludes our last meeting for the year 2023 for the city of Waterville. And believe me, it's been quite a year, but we survived. We've worked together. We haven't always seen the same picture, but hopefully going forward, we will craft the right path forward, and we will live by the examples of what Rod and Barb have taught us. So with that, any other information on scheduled business? I need a motion from Barb and Rod to close this meeting, both of you.
So moved.
And I second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Amen. Thank you. We are adjourned.